Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. This is English Custom Woodworking. I think I'm going to start calling these jack of all trade videos. This is not woodworking per se, but almost all people with shops like myself dabble into other things. So I thought this info would be good to be shared, and I hope you enjoy it. So I bought a new truck, and I needed to move my truck bed toolbox into my new truck. The main predicament I had doing this was how am I going to mount it? So I did some research and found some clamps that I think would work. The main thing is I absolutely did not want to drill holes in the rails of my new truck like I did in my previous truck. So this is what I came up with, and I hope you enjoy watching, and I hope you enjoy the instruction. These are the clamps that I bought. They are from Auto Body Now. They come two to a pack, and I bought them on Amazon for about $11 for a 2-pack. Here is the bed of my truck. Everyone's situation is going to be different, but this is what I'm working with. It is just under 64 inches inside to inside, and it is 72 inches outside to outside. The Toolbox is a DeeZee brand box. I bought it back in probably about 2006 or 2007. It's about 70 inches in total width. The inset portion of the box that sits down in the bed is about 61 inches. And the depth from the back to the front is just shy of 26 inches.
So by my measurements, I should have about 1.25 inches on each side. Would make it even left to right. That also gives me about right there. It shows a measurement of about 1 inch. I don't know if I have my head in the way. Measurement about 1 1/8 inches there of a gap, and that's what I'll have to drill a hole down through this. For these to work. So these things don't come with directions. I'm just kind of shooting from the hip on how to do this, but basically this is going to go under here, and I'll drill a hole through on the inside, and then it will clamp down and hold it. That's the plan. That is the plan. So looking on the inside of the box, my previous toolbox, I drilled holes actually through and through this plate up here, and then actually down through this, and then bolted it straight like this. I don't want to drill holes in this on my new truck. So basically what this new clamping system allows me to do is I'm going to drill a hole right here closer to the edge in this 1 1/8 gap, and clamp this underneath. So there is a mount for this plastic shroud that protects the rail. There's mounts every so often, and there's one right here. So that measures about 8 1/4, and they're about 3/4 inches wide. So I need to, my first drill hole will have to be behind it. So that's about 10 inches or more. Back from the back edge will be my first drill hole. That clamp will not fit any further than this bevel right here. And then there is another mount right here about where the middle of the C, letter C is. So that is about 16 inches away from the back, so I need to stay away from that. So the 2 holes that I drill in the toolbox, the first one will need to be somewhere right in here in front of that, so it's not impeded. And then the box itself is about 24, I think, to 26. And there's another mount right here at about 23, so it needs to be in between those and then there, the 2 mount, or the 2 holes that I drilled. So okay, as I was saying, I'm measuring from the back right here, and my first mount that I got to stay away from is less than 10, so that's all right. I'll just go somewhere greater than 10. So I made a mark at 10. I put an X here to stay away from that, and then 16, I put a mark and an X to stay away from that. And then the next one back here was about 23, which actually puts me up into the front here where I couldn't drill anything anyway. So I don't want both of my mounts up here towards the front. I'd like to have as far back as I can get, and then one up here about as far forward as I can get to create enough balance if there's weight in here. So I'm going to go about an inch. These things are 1 1/8 wide. So I'm going to go 1 inch in front of this mark, and then my hole needs to be, so I got 1.5 inches. These are 1.5 inches. So if this thing sits right up next to the edge, let me set this down for a second. So I need to put the hole as close to this as I can get it. And I think it'll still reach underneath there. So probably needs to be about 1/2 inch, that mark. This is going to be different with everybody's truck because these measurements are going to be a little bit different. So measuring right there to there is 1.25 inches. So I'm going to make 1.25 inch mark. Actually, I'll go 3/4 because 1.25 inch back to 1/2 inch. Here's your 3/4. 3/4. Boom. So that's where I'm going to go. So that is about, on my truck, about 10 3/4 front and back, and about 21 front and back. I'm going to do that on both sides and go from there. My bolt in this bracket is probably about a heavy quarter, probably a 5/16 fold 1/4 inch bolt. So I'll go with 5/16 or just a hair above that to drill my hole. Perfect. So this is a 5/16 bit. The nut on the top and the bottom are 1/2 inch. I'll probably get a hacksaw and trim that down, probably about a 1/2 inch or something, just so that's not sticking up. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing on both sides. I'm shaking the heck out of the bolt box right now and it's not moving at all, so it's solid, very solid. I didn't tighten it down too terribly tight because I don't want to have that clamp like leave some type of indentation on the rail, but it is pretty snug. I've gotten down in pretty snug. Let's do the other side. So I'm going to do the same as the other side. I'm going to measure from the back. I'm just going to go ahead and measure 11 because it was 10 to stay away. It's 10 to stay away. So I'm going to go 11. And then I'm going to measure back 3/4. I'm going to measure over here on the outside just to make sure that 3/4 will be yeah, 3/4 will stay out of the rail. So I do not want to drill into my rail. Okay, and then I think I was 21. And 3/4. Make a mark with a punch. I'm right-handed, so this This side over here is going to be a little bit easier for me to get a hold of this head of that bolt with my wrench. Alright, once it starts to snug down, I want to make sure that that clamp underneath here is not twisted. It's still square, so it's not rubbing into the back of the rail. Pretty snug. So this nut here is it's got a nylon washer in it, so it's a lock nut. If you didn't have that, you could use a lock washer here, but I think this system will work. These nuts are usually pretty reliable. All right, last one. So I can feel that mount right here. So I'm away from it probably 1/2 inch, 3/4, which is good enough, but it's pretty close to it. Okay, starting to get snug. I want to make sure it's still square. So I know what some of you guys are thinking. This is a brand new truck, and I'm putting a 15, 16-year-old toolbox in a brand new truck. But this toolbox has been a fantastic toolbox. I'm by no means affiliated with DeeZee, but this has been a great toolbox. I've beat the heck out of this toolbox over the years, not intentionally, but just because that's how things happen whenever you're working. But this toolbox to me is essential. I can't do what I do without having some extra storage place to put my tools and keep them locked up. It is a extra wide, extra deep toolbox. Like I said, I bought this thing like probably 16, 17 years ago, and when I did, it was in another truck, 2 or 3 trucks before this truck. But it locks on each side, and with it being in here, if anybody's interested, I still have about 10 inches of clearance. I store lumber and whatever else I'm hauling underneath. But these bolts that I use, I'm not affiliated with them either. But I mean, it's got it in there nice and tight. It's not coming out. You know, they sell them in pairs. The product I bought from Amazon, and it sold the pair of 2. I really feel like a box this big, if you have a smaller box and you don't really have a lot of weight in it, I'd probably be okay with having one on each side. But as big as this box is and as much weight as I put in it, I really wanted 2 mounts on each side. But anyway, that's how I did it, and it worked out pretty good. And I did not have to drill any holes down through the rail, and that was basically what I wanted: mounted safely, securely, and not have to drill holes in my new truck rail. So it worked out pretty good. I appreciate you guys watching. If you would, give me a thumbs up and like the video, share if you would, and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate it. See you guys on the next one.
Once again, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment if you would, and don't forget to measure twice and cut once.